This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 10th day of February in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. President Irfan Ali has rushed to the defense of Vice President Barra Jagdeo against those bribe-taking allegations and is now questioning the credibility of the international journalist for the Vice News Agency who interviewed the Vice President about the claims. The Vice President has denied the allegations that he has accepted bribes from Chinese businesses to land big contracts in Guyana. The Chinese embassy in Guyana has also denied the allegations, and the Chinese businessman who was used by the vice journalist as a source for the information has also backed away from the claims, indicating in local state media reports that he never made any such accusations. When questioned by reporters about the issue today on the sidelines of the annual military officers conference, President Irfan Ali dismissed the reports and allegations while questioning the credibility of the journalist who conducted the interview with the Vice President.
What? I don't know about a lot of reports, so can you give me the reports?
In the press.
What reports you talking about? No, you are a reporter and you're telling me that you saw a report. Tell me what report. Tell me which project. Tell me one project.
It was reported by the Vice President.
So I'm going to ask you a question now. I heard that you are paid. By a special interest group to get a specific type of report in your newspaper. Is it true?
It's not true, sir,
Exactly. It's an allegation. Of course,
Good.
my government is above board. But I'm just saying this to say how sensational people are just doing things with sensational headline.
The president told local journalists that he has received information and that the award-winning journalists who questioned the vice president about the bribery claims may be influenced by special interests.
There's a lot of sensationalization that is going on of news. And I'm not into that. I'm into facts. Building one Guyana based on honesty, integrity, based on hard work, based on facts. This same reporter did not even know what the Amalas Falls project is about. Did not even know the name of roads. But came here and I heard because we got intelligence gathering too, I heard that the reporter had certain special interests. An allegation was made as president. Some people called me and say that this reporter was having a special interest on a special group, was managed by a special group. That is information that people call me. That allegation was made. And I want the reporter to respond whether indeed this is true.
While the Vice News Agency has not released its report as yet on the Vice President's interview, the Guyana government has started a major public relations pushback against the allegations that were presented to the Vice President during the interview. It was the Office of the Vice President that released a video recording of the interview 6 days after the one-on-one sit-down. In the interview, Vice President Jagdeo seemed stunned by the reporter's questions about his alleged involvement in accepting bribes from Chinese businessmen for lucrative contracts in the country. Vice President Jagdeo dismissed and denied the allegations, and at a later press conference he said the Foreign News Agency was attempting to involve Guyana in the economic spat that has been taking place between China and the US. During the interview, the foreign journalist told the Vice President that according to her source, the Chinese businessman Su Jingrong, who the Vice President admitted knowing, he would allow amendments to laws to accommodate bribe-paying Chinese businessmen. Vice President Jagdeo rubbished the allegations, and today President Irfan Ali dismissed the allegations as nonsense.
First of all, the project, she said that the Vice President would change the Constitution. What nonsense that is the allegation. Somebody can just wake up and change the Constitution. There is a process, that alone, and the misinformation discredits her and tells you that her only objective was in pursuing a special interest. And go and do the research on this news agency and research on the individual.
The Chinese embassy in Guyana on Wednesday issued a statement condemning the questions and allegations about Chinese businesses paying bribes for contracts in Guyana. According to the Chinese embassy, Chinese companies operating in Guyana are following the local laws, international practices, and market rules, while participating in big projects through open and fair competitions, which is beyond reproach. In a statement that was dispatched to sections of the local state media, the Chinese businessman at the center of the allegations was quoted quoted as saying that he has never solicited any bribe or inducement from any company or individual for himself or any Guyana government official, including the Vice President of Guyana. The Chinese businessman is a tenant at one of the Vice President's personal properties and has been living in Guyana for several years. He reportedly has Guyanese citizenship and has been seen in the past attending major government functions and meetings involving Chinese investors. The Vice News Agency journalist Isabel Young, who interviewed the Vice President and has found herself in the middle of the Guyana government's ire, appears taken aback by the controversy that her interview has erupted. In a Twitter post, she highlighted various reports carried in the Guyanese media on her interview and said that Vice News seemed to have hit a nerve with Guyana's Vice President, and the report hasn't even been published as yet. The Vice News Agency is known for its documentaries and long-form reports on major international issues. More news coming up in just a moment.
How fast is fiber? Think fast. GTT Fiber has 3 packages with download speeds of 50, 100, and 150 megabits per second. That's fast enough to stream movies and music, to chat with Gran and Fran, to study, and more. What would you do? Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow.
Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo, under the theme Charting a Sustainable Energy Future, will be hosted at the Guyana Marriott from the 15th to the 18th of February 2022. Meet and engage with energy leaders from around the world. The conference will feature addresses from His Excellency President Irfan Ali, His Excellency Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Honorable Prime Minister Mark Phillips, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santoki, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Motley, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and many other highly esteemed speakers. Charting a Sustainable Energy Future, Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo. Are you a low-income Guyanese? Are you living in a poor structure? Then apply now for Core Home Support. Visit www.chpa.gov.gy for more information on how to apply.
Miss Smash Queen Guyana 2022 National Pride Costume Competition and Coronation. Sunday, February 20th at 1900 hours at the Ramada Georgetown Princess Hotel. Come, witness our 6 ambassadors vie for the crown as we mash down, mask up, and make melody.
People may forget the present you bought for them, but they'll never forget your scent. Find your signature fragrance at Elite Fragrances and Trade-In, located at 123 Regent Road Border between Ornock Street and Shiv Chandapal Drive. Call 619-5151 or 227-1255. Get a designer fragrance for yourself or loved one that they will never forget.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL.
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
Welcome back. Opposition Member of Parliament Sherrod Duncan was suspended last evening from attending 4 sittings of the National Assembly after he loudly protested a remark by local government minister Nigel Dharamlal, who told a female opposition MP last evening that she was in need of a dildo, which is a sexual stimulation toy. Dharamlal made the remark while he was at the microphone responding to questions about the regional budgetary allocations. The remark was clearly heard but was ignored by the Speaker.
The reason why this figure was higher in you gotta get dildo. That's what you're looking for. There were snacks that had to be supplied to the team that distributed the COVID cash grant, so that is why the figure was so high last year.
When Duncan shouted across the assembly that Dharamlal was a nasty fella for making the remark, the Speaker objected and told Duncan to take his seat. The opposition MP refused.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I trust.
Honorable Member Mr. Duncan. Honorable Member Mr. Duncan. Honorable Member Mr. Duncan. Honorable Member Mr. Duncan. Could you please take your seat? Honorable Member Mr. Duncan. Honorable Member Mr. Duncan, I ask that you withdraw. Honorable Member, you withdraw from the House at this moment.
With Mr. Duncan continuing his loud objection to Dharamlal's remark and refusing the Speaker's instruction to withdraw from the sitting, Speaker Mansour Nadir then called on the government to move a motion to have Duncan suspended for the next 4 sittings. The motion was moved by Governance Minister Gilt Ashera, and the government used its majority to pass it.
Honorable Minister Teixeira, can I get you move the motion under the relevant standing order that this member be withdrawn from the House for the next 4 sittings?
In a statement, the opposition said it was not the first time that the Minister of Local Government Nigel Dharamlal had made crude and vile remarks towards opposition female members of Parliament. They said his behaviour dates back to 2020, and the Speaker has consistently failed to act on complaints about the government minister's behaviour. The APNU-AFC said it will no longer tolerate the disrespect by the government minister and the Speaker's regular failure to rein in the abhorrent behaviour by the government MP. The opposition today wrote to the Speaker on the issue. The government of Guyana intends to start examining ways to contain the exodus of trained and qualified nurses from Guyana. Appearing before the Parliamentary Committee of Supply this morning, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony revealed that there is active recruitment of Guyanese nurses from foreign countries, particularly the United Kingdom. He said while the problem has persisted for several years, the recruitment is hurting the local healthcare system, as nurses leave to seek better pay and an improved way of life. The minister said the government of Guyana plans to find ways to slow down the exodus of nurses.
There are active recruitment of nurses from Guyana, and we have been losing nurses because of this active recruitment. So we are looking at various ways that we can slow that down. I don't think we might be able to ever stop it, but we at least have to slow it down and then be able to produce more nurses for the facilities and so forth.
Minister Anthony said there are a number of measures, including training more nurses and the need to address the bigger problem of retention that will have to be addressed.
And that is to compete with the salaries that are being paid in the UK. That's a very tall order. And what is happening right now is that when a nurse is offered a job, let's say in the UK, that offer is not just for the nurse to go to the UK, but for the entire family to accompany the nurse. And so these are the dynamics that we have.
Dr. Anthony, however, admitted that in order for nurses to be assured of upward mobility in Guyana, they must first complete the midwifery program, even if they have no interest in that field. He said that it is a situation that the government will be looking to change.
But there are other non-monetary incentives that we can put in place, and we are actively considering some of those incentives.
The health minister said there is currently a shortage of nurses across the healthcare system, except for at the Linden Hospital. Let's tell you now that with Guyana moving along the path of development and still facing security threats, President Irfan Ali is recommitting the country as one that supports peace over conflict. In his address to the opening of the annual Guyana Defense Force Officers Conference today, President Ali reminded that unlike any other region in the world, the Caribbean and Latin America region has maintained a fair amount of peace. And in that backdrop, he said, Guyana supports a continuation of peace in the region.
And we will support every effort to ensure that this region remains a region of peace. We'll partner with every single strategic partner that we have to ensure that this region remains peaceful and to ensure that our territorial integrity and security remains intact. But that partnership cannot and will not be a one-way street. It requires our strategic partner also and partners also to work closely with us in designing an overarching strategy in which all the nations in this region must feel as if they are part of that strategy. They must feel included in that strategy, and they must feel as if they will remain safe and stable in that strategy.
The president said there must be a way forward to ensuring that the threats to national and regional security are addressed. President Ali said Guyana's plan is to engage countries of the region more to strengthen relations and intelligence cooperation.
Guyana will continue to promote friendly relations with other countries and their defense force. But I'm aware that there are mischievous elements who wish to ensnare Guyana into geopolitical conflicts. Guyana has no intention to become a part of this. We cherish deeply our friendship and our partnership with our strategic partners and alliances. But we are also monitoring closely.
With that support needed from everyone, the president said the Guyana Defense Force will be called upon to play an even greater role in maintaining peace.
Which means that in all our plans, we have to create a nimble structure that is knowledge-based, that is high on technology. If you look at the UAE and how they're developing a defense strategy with the use of technology against different threats, whether it's anti-terrorism measures, whether it's dealing with drug trafficking. How do we build the technology? What are the gaps in doing so? What is the strategy in developing a knowledge-based approach to defense?
And Mr. Ali also insisted that the Guyana Defense Force looks at its gaps and fill those gaps to make the force more responsive to development needs. The Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Godfrey Best, assured the President that the GDF will support all defense initiatives to protect Guyana and aid in its continued development.
Therefore, as a force, we must ensure that we have the capacity and capability to combat such a diverse range of security threats. To this end, I wish to reiterate our commitment and support to Your Excellency's vision for transformation of Guyana Defense Force. The transformational policy you have embarked on is geared to revolutionize our defense approach. Sir, we welcome the Government of Guyana's commitment via the Defense Board to improve and increase the Defense Force capabilities so that the force will be better positioned to monitor the nation's air, land and sea spaces and interdict interlopers.
The Chief of Staff welcomed the government's support for further equipping the GDF on various levels to be in a better position to do its job. Well, the Eureka Medical Laboratory Company, which is the leading private medical institution conducting COVID-19 testing in Guyana, is expanding its services with a new drive-through facility that will allow persons to get tested for the virus without leaving their cars. Chief Executive Officer of Eureka Labs, Dr. Andrew Boyle, explained that more and more persons prefer to be tested in a comfortable environment that they know, away from the hospital and laboratories. He said the drive-through facility creates that safe space.
Eureka has done it. This drive-through facility will make COVID collection and processing much smoother and, of course, safer. You can safely drive, walk, or ride through our facilities, as we'll explain a little later, without having to go into a building and to suffer possible infections, of course.
According to Dr. Ball, the COVID-19 testing facility will have healthcare workers always available to guide customers. It was also explained that persons will also be able to do the swab themselves. Guyana's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Narayan Singh, welcomed the drive-through facility and said he's pleased that the company has been playing its own role in ensuring better testing for COVID-19.
And so when this drive-through was they thought that they were going to do a drive-through. I always thought that when Guyana would actually have a drive-through, because we know that COVID is going to be with us for some time, even though in different forms, and testing would always be needed. How we can make testing much more easy and much more accessible to the public is one of the things that the Ministry of Health cannot do alone, and we had to collaborate with the private sector to get this done. And Eureka was there. We're one of the first set of people to actually step up to the plate. And today again, we are seeing they're stepping up again by doing this drive-through to make testing much more accessible and again much more safer for the persons who are coming to access testing, and also for the staff who will be doing the testing.
The new mobile facility is located just next to the main labs for the Eureka Company on Thomas Street here in Georgetown. It was explained that results from testing will be available within 30 minutes for the antigen tests and within 12 hours for the more detailed PCR tests. The High Court has ruled that the Georgetown Mayor and City Council acted outside of its authority when it introduced a 0.5% increase in the cost for a certificate of compliance back in 2019. By way of a notice in 2019, the City Council informed the public that the cost for a certificate of compliance will be increased by 0.5% of the current market valuation of the property. The Guyana Bar Association opposed the decision and dispatched a letter to the City Council requesting reasons for its decision. The association claimed it was ignored and decided to move to the courts to quash the City Council's decision, which took effect on the 1st of July 2019. The Bar Association also sought a declaration that the decision of City Hall is contrary to law and the policy of Section 16A of the Deeds Registry Act, Chapter 501, as well as an order that the Council had no jurisdiction to make any such decision. The City Council relied on the Municipal and District Council Act as a statutory basis which authorizes the Council to prescribe fees and charges. The Council also argued that there is nothing in the legislation which prohibits the Council from setting fees and charges on a percentage basis as opposed to a flat fee. The Council contended that a new fee was not a tax but a levy by a public body. In analyzing the case, Justice Gino Posada explained that the City Council is a creature of statute, and it derives its jurisdiction and power from statute, and it can only exercise the powers granted to it within the four corners of the Act. He further said in his ruling that the figure of 0.5% of the current market valuation of the property to be transferred was not explained in any detail at all. An order was also granted for the City Council to reverse its decision. The Guyana Bar Association has welcomed the decision of the court.
Are you a low-income Guyanese? Are you living in a poor structure? Then apply now for Core Home Support. Visit www.chpa.gov.gy for more information on how to apply.
Miss Smash Queen Guyana 2022 National Pride Costume Competition and Coronation. Sunday, February 20th at 1900 hours at the Ramada Georgetown Princess Hotel. Come, witness our 6 ambassadors vie for the crown as we mash down, mask up, and make melody.
Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo under the theme Charting a Sustainable Energy Future will be hosted at the Guyana Marriott from the 15th to the 18th of February 2022. Meet and engage with energy leaders from around the world. The conference will feature addresses from His Excellency President Irfan Ali, His Excellency Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Honorable Prime Minister Mark Phillips, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santoki, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Motley, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and many other highly esteemed speakers. Charting a Sustainable Energy Future, Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, the United States will contribute $8 million to Colombia's national police to support human rights and anti-corruption training of the force. That's according to the U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs. Colombia's national police have come under heavy criticism in recent years, including from the United Nations and the European Union, for using excessive force during anti-government protests, where a total of more than 40 civilians died. Families of some of those killed say they face a long wait for justice. The Colombian president's government backed a police reform last year and said it would improve human rights standards for police officers. Several police officers have been convicted or face prosecution for civilian deaths since 2019. According to the president of Colombia, Colombia and the U.S. will share intelligence information to head off possible interference in legislative and presidential elections later this year as part of the Security Pact. In Barbados, Barbados Today reports that labor and education in the country are in for a major shake-up as the newly formed Mia Motley administration aims to bring greater ease to workers, train more individuals for future job prospects, and enhance the overall education and labor conditions. In her first speech as President of the Republic State, Dame Sandra Mason said in addition to the transformation of social policies to bring all social services under one directorate and reform the welfare system, the Barbadian government will also be giving full attention to preparing a more upskilled labor force and an improved education system. She also indicated that the promised paternity legislation will be introduced in the term of the government to ensure greater parity in the workplace. And finally tonight, international news. The Prince of Wales, who is self-isolating after testing positive for COVID-19, met the Queen 2 days ago in Windsor, a royal source says. They say the monarch is not showing any symptoms of COVID-19. Prince Charles tested positive for the virus this morning. It is the second time that he has contracted the virus. The previous evening, he and the Duchess of Cornwall met Chancellor Rishi Sunak and others at a reception in the British Museum. Camilla has tested negative for COVID-19, Clarence House has indicated. Buckingham Palace has not confirmed whether the Queen has tested positive or negative, citing medical privacy. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.